Hey everybody, welcome to the Interactivists podcast. I don't actually know what episode this is. I think it's 29, but it's been a while. Today I've got James Crawford of 100XP with me.
Hello.
And I've also got our regular Marcos.
Hi. Nice intro.
Yeah. We're going to be a little bit rusty today, I think, because it has literally been... When was Civil War out? Was it May?
That was a while back.
So...
It's been a month.
Beginning of May. So yeah, that was the last one we did. Life sort of took over and lots of things happened. So yeah, that's my excuse.
And also hello to the 100XP viewers.
Oh yeah,
who will have access to this on the 100XP channel, courtesy of Tom.
Yeah, because you're editing it. So
well, that's also true. Because this is the E3 kind of special, as it were. We're going to be talking about the gaming show that's happened last couple of days. Which neither of you have seen anything of.
I mean, yeah, this is going to be really interesting because we're basically going to be listening to you and then going,
Yeah, it's like in movies when they put one of the characters doesn't know what's going on, and they're kind of like there to ask the questions that the audience asks, whatever that's called.
Yeah, you're my exposition.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot has happened, hasn't it, over the last couple of days?
It usually does.
Yeah, it sort of all comes in one go. I know, like Marcos wanted to talk a little bit about the Apple thing, but I think we might be able to just save that until another time.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's
unless you want to be here till midnight.
No, that makes sense.
Microsoft pretty much they scheduled it at the exact same time as the Apple keynote, didn't they? So, fuck you guys.
I mean, in one day we had so Apple gave their keynote at WWDC, and then Microsoft gave theirs at E3. Then Sony came next,
and then
did they?
Sony, yeah.
And did Bethesda do theirs on the same day?
No, Bethesda did it the night before.
Okay,
or in the morning, as it were,
right.
But for us in the UK, the night before.
Yeah.
And EA got in there a little sooner as well.
Yeah.
I just had a thought. Microsoft could do a presentation at next year's E3 without having any games of their own to show off, right?
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
So aren't we just ticking down the years until Apple is presenting at E3 based on their Apple TV platform with some exclusive titles, just to mess with everybody's head?
I would love that.
Yeah,
because they've just done. One of the announcements was that the games for the Apple TV don't need to be compatible with the little Siri remote.
Okay,
opening the doors to like people putting full-fledged like first-person shooters on Apple TV.
On it,
So we're only a couple of years away from some horsepower and some clever devs and some pretty interesting experiences.
And
there.
if Apple have, they've got their WWDC at the same time anyway, so they don't even need an E3 thing. They just
announce.
Well, no, I'm saying
window,
maybe it's just coincidence that it got scheduled at the same week this year, but it wouldn't be out of the question in a couple of years. Apple is one of the companies presenting at E3, which is all new. Like it's
a possibility. I mean, Apple. It's interesting because they've never really been super serious about gaming, but they're quite a driving force in the mobile gaming thing. So fuck knows what's going to happen.
Which has massive repercussions. In the rest of the gaming world. I mean, we look at the way that microtransactions and kind of like casual content has kind of sunk its way into the larger games. Like the new Forza. I'm sure that's going to have some part of that.
Yeah,
actually, I'm a little bit out of touch with that. So
wait, Forza.
Yeah, sorry.
It's a game made by where's it developed?
Oh shit! Who makes Forza?
It's not made by Italians. Let's put it.
No.
Okay.
I think it's Scottish. Right. I mean, the guy that did the presentation is Scottish, wasn't he?
So they're very adamant on how you pronounce.
I actually can't remember. I'm really it's bugging me that I can't remember the name of the company.
I would have thought it'd be an American studio because or to be honest, it's probably at this stage an international project. Between about 5 studios. Just as all of the large games tend to be.
So I'm. You might not know, but Tom knows very often. So I like gaming, and I chime in every now and again. But I'm actually like very out of touch with it in the sense
you're
that
a filthy casual.
Yeah,
and that comes from me.
I don't have one of the current gen consoles, and so I haven't actually witnessed the trend towards what you just mentioned, which is the microtransactions and all this stuff getting into like mainstream games. So just like at a high level, like if you picked up like Uncharted 4 or whatever we're on now, can you expect like that there's really
microtransactions in the multiplayer,
what would it
customizable
be like?
stuff? like because there's a leveling
unlock
system.
this shield, pay £2, that kind of
it's
stuff.
not stuff that necessarily is gonna, it's not like pay to win stuff, is it? It's just kind of,
I mean, I my own personal feelings on it is, unless it's entirely cosmetic, if you are putting microtransactions into the game, you are creating desire. Like,
sure.
There is no way you put microtransactions into your game unless you expect people to want them. And the only way that you make people want something is by either making it so that the game is worse without that, or by making it so that there is this social element to it. And the only times that the social stuff works is when you've got a game like Dota 2 or Counter-Strike or Team Fortress.
buy a few hats.
3 Steam games, but they're games with massive PC kind of communities.
On that note, is Valve and Steam, are they have they fallen into this trap too, or have they avoided it?
No, they have pretty much, they created their own, like they were spearheading the PC version, but I don't think it would be fair to say that they've ever put microtransactions in a game that would have affected anything. It's always cosmetic.
That's really interesting.
And the way that Valve have been doing it more recently is they'll create little packs of content, and they'll put some of that money towards tournaments and stuff. So the international last year, that was the Dota 2, that was entirely funded by people buying a little book that then in game allowed you to kind of place bets on the tournament and kind of follow the tournament and see like you could look at the different players and stuff. That's a really nice way of engaging with the community. So unlike say Halo, which has got not collectible but card packs that give you boosts during games and
so
stuff like that.
Let's say a game costs like £50. How much do you think you can expect to pay on all these extra bits that they're trying to sell you?
Endless.
Really?
Like you can. I mean, like also at the same time though, I mean, I very rarely even buy DLC, let alone any microtransaction thingamajigs. I mean,
to put it into perspective, Rockstar have almost made as much money on selling their game, like little cards in game that give you money in the online to buy cars,
GTA 5 online,
as they have selling the game. In fact, I think it's surpassed it by some way now.
Massive business, isn't it?
It is.
It's absolutely huge.
And there's nothing but money to buy like vehicles and guns. You can earn that in game quite simply, or you can just pay for it.
But people, that's the thing. People don't want to grind, do they? They just want to. They want to have their money.
Like it's funny that the result of so if we rewind 20 years and we were playing games, like we were killing time. Like there wasn't that much other stuff that was better to do. Like we sort of slightly pre-internet kind of. Nothing on TV. What are we going to do? We're going to go sit and just mine away at a game, and that's kind of our.
We're the generation that they target now. I mean that's not strictly true, but certainly that sense of we've had years of our lives playing games and feeling that progress and being able to spend hours and hours doing it. That is now we're now grown up and we're like we can't do that anymore. So they're now giving an easy option. Skip that bit option, which is. Which is common. I mean, even like RPGs have like pay to skip bits now. I can't remember what it was, but there was an RPG a couple of years ago that just allowed you to pay to level up. Yeah, I know.
I did hear about that.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I can't remember what it is. We should probably get into E3 because like that was a good old rant about microtransactions, which we all need to have every now and then. But there's quite a lot of big news.
Very light on the microtransactions this E3. Actually, I was really pleased with the kind of the quality of standalone kind of single player kind of stuff that there is offering. The meat and the bread and meat of the video game.
Meat and potatoes.
Of the video game.
Well,
world.
should we just crack on with it then? I mean, okay, so let's get onto sort of the big hardware news first.
Okay.
So, I mean, before E3 happened, Sony, Andrew House had an interview with the Financial Times and said the PS4.5, the Project Neo, is a real thing.
Yeah.
And
they need it for VR, essentially. With PlayStation VR coming out, which has been announced now. That's October.
Yes,
that's coming out
exactly.
23rd of October.
In the States, they said, though, didn't they?
Oh, that might be true.
Yeah.
And I suspect
you're talking about PlayStation
high...
VR? I think it was 13th of October.
Yeah, it said October the 13th in the USA.
23rd must have been Last Guardian.
Yes. So October 13th for VR. So Yeah. Oh shit! Just moving stuff around, just dropping everything. Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had any real spec stuff for the Sony console, have we?
Oh, the 4.5.
Yeah, for the 4.5.
Was there some zero news?
Stuff got leaked a few weeks ago by Giant Bomb.
Very light on kind of what we know.
It seems like it's not a big jump from what was leaked, but it's going to be, it's going to be more powerful. It's going to be able to just, display stuff at higher frame rates. And
with Sony, they've explicitly said no game's going to come out on that requires it.
Yep.
It's just an additional boost, which surprised me because I thought that might be coming out to support some more of the kind of high-end VR games, but it might be that now we got all the PC friendly architecture. It might be that these games now come out in a variety of different levels. So that's what I'm expecting.
It's getting a bit messy, isn't it? Like, one of the things about consoles was always how neat it was.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
These guys have definitely just stepped into a
PC realm.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me when
I think it's safer to do so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's all going. It's going into that yearly or twice, it's going into that yearly kind of cycle, isn't it? They can't afford to wait 6 years at a time anymore.
Exactly. Well, 10 years, and the last gen was pretty
especially
long,
with VR looming and that being a real flight of fancy, I think, for a lot of people. They're going to have to be prepared to compete with the Vive.
Absolutely. I mean, they've got the price, in terms of the actual hardware. I mean,
$399 compared to $700.
Great. Yeah, I mean that plus a PS4 is going to be cheaper than.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are going to have PlayStation 4s already.
Exactly.
So,
and then what? You need a couple of. Will it?
So $499 comes with the controllers.
It comes with the Move controllers.
Also it works with the old Move controllers.
So you could just buy them off eBay.
If they're floating around, you might have some. Your dog might have chewed the end of it.
Yeah. And it also requires the camera, doesn't it? The PlayStation camera.
I think that's coming with the actual headset though, because that's a.
So on the flip side, Microsoft have made a couple of announcements, haven't they, as to new hardware. So they're slimming down the Xbox One, which it sort of strikes me as this is sort of what it should have been.
Xbox 0.6 now, because they've taken off half,
right?
Almost half, 40% of the console.
40% smaller, which is quite considerable, and it's not just 40% smaller, but it also has the power supply inside, which I'm always like, no massive power brick. That's really exciting.
It's neat. I mean, there's nothing. Good, well done. I mean, I feel bad for all the people who bought the other Xbox now, but good. And it's
a nice box.
I think it's interesting that it's the first time that kind of modification happens so quickly.
Yeah,
Normally it takes 4 years.
Well, it's been 2.5 years.
Yeah, I actually think this is pretty.
It's been a while.
Maybe I blinked and missed it.
I think this is
I think so.
And especially with, I mean, the way that Nintendo's been at it. The Wii got 2 new boxes almost every 3 years. The 3DS has had bloody loads of different versions. There's a Wedge 2DS. There's the bigger 3DS. There's
maybe time's just.
And then there's the new 3DS.
I guess time is
3DS
kind of
LL
3DS.
or whatever.
Time's kind of moving at a different pace now. I can't relate it to. I remember I have a timeline which is solid, but it felt like years between the PS2 and the PS2 Slim, but actually it's probably a similar amount of time to what we're talking about now between the Xbox One.
Could be.
Also, it doesn't help that I've not actually played an Xbox One. So
I think the PlayStation 2 had problems as well. Consoles just knocking out, so they had to they were less further ahead than I guess Xbox One and PS4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
both those consoles seem to have been relatively kind of less bumpy comparatively.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's Microsoft doing about VR?
That's a big question that didn't get answered this year. Everyone expected them to. They hinted, and the big kind of question mark is: are they going to try and secure Oculus?
Yeah, because that was a big rumor, wasn't it? That there was the new the Scorpio, which we haven't yet talked about, but that's their essential Xbox 1.5.
So we've got the current Xbox is getting a reshuffle. But they've also announced Scorpio. Which is they didn't give any details, but this is the next step. This is a more powerful. They said almost twice as powerful. I think.
It's not it seems a bigger step than the Neo is rumored to be for the PS4. So,
which then will give them 4K. I mean, it's a bigger step, but does that mean that they're going to be comparable because the PS4 is more powerful at this stage?
Yeah.
So I think they will probably end up being quite comparable.
Yeah,
they're both coming out to support the VR, which no doubt that Scorpio's coming out. Like they say 4K, but
so what do you reckon? So, Sony said October 13th. Does that then mean they haven't announced the 4.5 properly?
No,
like not properly. So does that mean
they've said it exists, but they haven't said
that
it?
Means
the next 2 months they have to announce it? Or
no,
they have to...
I think they'll go for a year with kind of smaller experiences, and then they'll support later with the boosted hardware.
God, okay. So see, this is tricky. As somebody who hasn't bought a console, like, what a horrible time to go and buy a PS4.
It's very confusing.
Like,
I think,
even though I want, though I want that VR experience.
I think at this stage, like, depending on what the NX is for Nintendo, which is their next console, they could skirt in with the simpler. I think it might. I mean, I don't think you're ever gonna, appeal to a wide group anymore. No. It's gotten so diverse that you can't just come in with the whole it's a media box nonsense. Like people are going to want VR. People are going to want a decent console, and I think this is a kind of reaction to the last couple of E3s where people haven't been very happy with the presentations.
It sounds like we're in this weird transition period where
at least last E3 was definitely a reaction. I don't know if you ever paid any attention to that, but that was just like, hold on guys, sorry, we forgot about last year about the game, so we're just going to throw hundreds of
Microsoft specifically the year before, the launch, they were just like, sports, TV, sports. Oh, and here's some games. Whereas then they were like, shit, we need to course correct because everyone actually wants to play some games on these games consoles.
Yeah, right.
So
I heard about that.
They didn't have to try quite as hard this year. To kind of to get.
And they had their their Forza, they had their Gears of War, they had their their standard hits, sort of What were you going to say about the sort of transition period?
It looks as sort because I'm standing slightly outside of this. I've got, maybe a slightly different perspective. It seems like this is a transition period for these consoles between the what we just talked about, these massive cycles, and the annual cycle. And this is like the messy downshift part where like you've got this Scorpio, you've got this 4.5, you've got Microsoft announcing the Scorpio just at the same time that they're announcing a slightly more powerful Xbox One S, right? It's slightly more powerful as well.
I heard it was. I get the impression one's in arm's reach, the other's at least a year and a bit away.
So it's really weird. Like they're already that's an odd move, I think, from what was around 10 years ago, which is like they're
messy,
shooting themselves.
For sure.
Yeah,
it's really messy, and I think the major three. Well, Nintendo's taken a step back after they didn't really do a direct this year, which they did last year, and they properly spent time putting stuff together. But I think the death of the company lead Iwata, that's left them wanting to kind of refocus. I don't think they've officially announced what their intention is with the new director. So
well, maybe that's the strangest thing about the Sony thing in the last few months is that they did acknowledge the PS4 4.5, PS 4.5.
I think they wanted to because there's obviously
there
was the buzz about Xbox's one. And I think that Andrew House,
was there buzz about the Xbox?
There was stuff sort of going around, and I think that he had an opportunity in the Financial Times, which is it's not even like a gaming thing; it's like a broader kind of everybody sort of journal. To say this is something that we've got in mind, get out ahead of it, and also. If he doesn't say any specs or anything, then I'm sure they've got some wiggle room once they find out what Microsoft's is. Actually, that was kind of
they did that 2 years ago at E3.
Exactly.
They came out immediately after Microsoft screwed the pooch. And you could see the joy in Andrew House's expression as he was just like, we've got some games to show.
It was amazing.
They even made that because that was a big year where Microsoft were like, oh yeah, we're going to do so much TV stuff, TV, and they would not shut up about it.
I remember hearing about that.
And Andrew House even like TV dropped, he was like, we're not going to talk about TV, we're going to talk about games.
I think that Sony are doing pretty well by sort of holding back just a bit and letting Microsoft do the heavy work and get all the flack.
And they're the leaders at the moment, so they are playing the smarter players. If you're ahead of the game, you wait to see what you're...
It sounds, I mean, so it's June now, it sounds to me like I'm not going to buy a next-gen console until this time next year. At this rate.
I think that's a smart move, to be honest.
At this rate, even though the VR is coming out in October and I really want it, and when we saw that snippet of X-Wing on PS4 earlier, in my head I was throwing my wallet at the screen. Like you couldn't see it in my expression, but I saw those like 10 seconds of gameplay and I was just,
Red Leader, it's only £20.
Yeah, I was just throwing money at your Mac. But it sounds like I've got to just hang tight for a year or more.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
With the VR stuff, it seems to me that a lot of the stuff that was shown that I've seen videos for, like the X-Wing, like the Battlefront sort of VR demo thing, it seems like it's all just very small kind of essentially tech demos,
like I say,
like single missions and stuff.
There's a couple of large games being developed with VR. I mean, Resident Evil 7 is VR all the way through. That was announced. But I suspect that all the developers have been kind of, put a hand on their shoulder and they've been said, just make us something small. Get used to making stuff in VR. And then we'll come at you with some better specs. Yeah, exactly. And you can do...
And they're like, we need to just put something out there people can have fun with. They'll be like, I'll show their friends, you're in an X-Wing.
I think you're right. I think that makes a lot of sense. They, 50 for launch, that's a pretty tall order, I think. And it makes sense that... Now, here's the thing. What
Actually, that wasn't for launch. It was 50 before the end of the year, which it gives you a couple of months extra after launch.
What are they going to charge for these tech demos?
Well, this is the question, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Because not only is it not on the PS4.5, so it's not quite. But if they want £40 for,
I don't think there's going to be. I think there'll be like.
Do you reckon th'll just be downloadables?
Little mix,
like not even on a disc. They're like literally,
like disc. They'll come out with a Wii Sports type mixer
because like
I played a little bit of what I suspect is going to be that. We kind of had a game where one of you had the VR and four of you were running away, and the guy with the VR was a giant like lizard monster, and you could move your head around and smash into buildings and then dodge out of the way as the other players were throwing stuff at you, which was a fun little mini game. I suspect there'll be a bunch of them. They'll get the London heist out, which just looks like a more fully kind of realised kind of game, but still kind of more on line of something like Time Crisis, than
sort of on rails and
it's entirely on rails. That was really fun.
So you've tried PSVR?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
what do you think?
Rezzed. I'm convinced it's no worse than Oculus.
Cool. Yeah.
The Vive takes VR and turns it into something transformative.
Yeah.
But as just like a gimmicky fun game thing that I'd be happy spending money on, the PSVR is just as good as the Oculus.
How was the was it comfortable to wear?
Yeah.
Did you wear your glasses with it, or did you take?
I took them off.
Yeah.
It's like liberating, really. I don't need my glasses.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I would me and James both wear glasses. Marcos doesn't, so it's like
because you've got a focus ring or whatever in VR goggles, you don't have to wear it. Well, see what you mean. I mean, that's a nice touch, isn't it?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm really, really interested to see.
Have you seen the new PlayStation 4 controller?
I've got something to say about that, but you carry on.
I haven't actually.
It looks like they made it out of a few loo rolls.
The gun controller.
The gun controller, yeah.
Tell me about this.
I have a theory.
Please Google this, listeners, because it's kind of fantastic. I'm sure when you're holding it with a VR headset, it's not going to be like the Wii where you can see it.
Yeah.
So they have to produce something. When you're holding it in the VR headset, that's probably just loose enough for it to be whatever you're holding. But it still just looks like a pipe that they spun round and stuck a ball on.
I have a theory, which is that tech and the industry is heading in the direction of like just softening most of everything.
No more diagonal lines and
just not even just textures. Just everything's got to be you can't basically you got to stay well away from offending anybody. Does your game have a female lead character? No. Is it an option? No. Oh, you're the devil. And the gun thing, especially with events recently, like Sony can't be seen releasing like a replica AK-47 gun controller.
I kind of agree that would be a little bit tasteless 2 days after. And
so they've gone the other extreme.
I feel that E3 kind of not E3, EA fucked up a bit.
Yeah, they got some flack already.
No, they opened up with Infinite Warfare,
right?
And they didn't even like everyone else was smart enough to say, you know, I know that this is good. Like the whole today is going to seem incongruous. Because of the violence that happened. You know, we just want to we have to remind people that this is something that's real type thing. Everyone said that apart from EA who just were like guns guns shooting death death. And that honestly I'd spent, you know, an hour or so reading about the reactions to the Orlando shooting, and that did leave me a little bit
I didn't
watch the EA.
That thing is insane. I'm just looking at the gun controllers. Yeah,
so
it literally is.
I'm old school in that I would have never picked up on that as an insensitivity, and that's actually a really good example of what I'm talking about in terms of like new school in the gaming industry. Like, I just don't think that would have picked up on anybody's radar 10 years ago. But now we're in this like...
It was not niche. I mean...
It's the era of sensitivity and being offended and all that. And it's bad taste right now to blast past... when everyone else is doing the speech and even if they are just pretending to care. But like... personally, I'm old school. I wouldn't have noticed it. I wouldn't have made that observation. I saw the news on The Verge and stuff going like, oh, look at what EA have done. But it's interesting. But yeah, I think the gun design is what a company does when they absolutely don't want to be anywhere near the radar of anybody.
They're just making a white amorphous blob.
But it's overcompensating, and I don't like overcompensation. That's why I take issue with it.
I don't know. I mean, it reminds me of everything that the Wii was. I think it's. I think that. I mean, did you see the boomerang controller?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what Sony have. They've released stuff in the past.
At least the Wii's angle was always casual gaming.
Did you see the boomerang?
The PS3, the original.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean,
when they announced the PS3,
it was awful.
But that was a controller design that I think that came out of them thinking that. People were going to get bored of something. It came from a different place. Like, I think this gun design comes from the place of we don't want any angry tweets about our gun design or like being insensitive versus we think people are bored of our stuff.
But at the same time, they wouldn't have just designed that on the day. You know, it's something that's
that's what I mean. The era,
process.
Not that event. It's like it's the era of
I think that's good.
Lightly.
I think I personally feel that that companies even have to think about that. Is a good sign that more people are paying attention to the trade aspects, the business side. Yeah. The fact that E3 is live streamed to everyone now, and not just just a kind of bunch of blog posts on Kotaku. That's great. Like, good.
Yeah, I mean, also at the end of the day, especially if you're playing with VR, you're not going to see the fucking thing anyway while you're using it. All you need is something that feels
I suspect like that they'll probably bring it more in line with the PlayStation VR headset. Cause the VR, like that looked. It did look a little bit like a proto.
It looks unfinished. It looks like something that's
like they were like. I mean, they didn't announce it on stage, so I don't think they would have had to worry about people going like, oh, they're talking about making guns.
Yeah,
they just threw it out there. They were like, oh yeah, we're going to put this out as well. It was in the Farpoint
demo, wasn't it?
Yeah,
they were sort of using it,
which looks really interesting. This is a VR game where you're kind of exploring a planet.
Okay. I think there was a very quick clip of it during the Sony video we watched earlier. Yeah, it looks pretty.
I mean, all that stuff. I mean, gameplay wise, I can't wait to get into that. And unfortunately, I will wait. I will wait like 1 or 2 years. But like all that stuff, I can. I can see that just being really good. It's almost like I'm currently building up like good karma in that. Not karma. That's the wrong thing. I'm working hard now so that when VR is ready, I can sort of go, I earned this. Like I've been playing games for like 3 years properly.
We should probably get into the
fasting.
Move a little bit onto the software side of things, I guess.
Games? Or?
Yeah, the games. Yeah. So, I mean, there were a lot of games that were mentioned, as it is E3, so, what were your highlights, James?
I think it's an obvious one to say... Zelda caught my eye.
Yeah, I've written that in caps in my book.
I can see. It's the only bit of the notepad I can read upside down. Because that looked really lovely, and I don't even want to see much of it. I just want to keep seeing it.
Yeah,
like they've got that whole, the animation. Even the colors are right. They look very Ghibli. They look like the proper kind of.
It looks lovingly crafted, doesn't it?
Open air kind of painting.
I don't know. Have you ever played a Zelda game, or have you? When was the last time you played?
I've probably put an hour into like the Game Boy version.
Yeah,
like 15 years
not
ago.
Kind of like the last one I played was the Wind Waker. So I mean. It sort of echoed a bit of Wind Waker in terms of the art style for me.
They've certainly. They went back with Twilight Princess to try to capture kind of a more realistic. I wouldn't even say realistic, more toned in kind of fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But then they just they went to a more impressionistic style. They straight up went Mondrian with Skyward Sword,
right?
Which was a really lovely effect, and I'd love to have seen like they redid Twilight Princess on the Wii U.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a proper redo of Skyward Sword just to get some of those, because even when the screen blurs, it goes into blobby kind of like it's like a pointillist painting, more than like actually it's really cool.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this before.
I think now they've looked at it's pretty damn obvious they looked at like Princess Mononoke and Ghibli or whatever, however Forza fucking you want to pronounce it. They've looked at the animation that's big and like the famous animations from Japan and taken from that liberally.
I think a bit of art in games.
Yeah,
and like
definitely you like to know that something is being crafted rather than just made.
And there's a bit of depth there to explore, knowing that like Skyward Sword has deep impressionistic influences in its art style.
Yeah.
Made me kind of have a little look into some of the stuff that inspired it. And I liked it.
And you learned. Today you learned.
I liked it and I put a ring on it. I put my
basic kind of like what is the deal with the new Zelda? Is it open world? Is it?
It looks like.
Is this the first
Skyrim.
open world?
I mean, it Zelda? Really is. So I would say that the first open world Zelda was Zelda.
Right.
It's always had a big world map that you can run around. I think this is just the first Zelda where it's a landmass, because of course you could say Wind Waker was you could say a lot of them were open world. Wind Waker was probably the largest prior to this, and Twilight Princess had quite a large area, but it was kind of beset by loading points. But even then with Wind Waker you could tell that when you sailed away from a place it was loading the next place. So I get the impression with this it's a really big open kind of landmass, much like Skyrim. And they've added a bunch of things to support that, so you can now just climb, you can jump, which you've never been able to just press a button and jump in a Zelda.
Jump button.
There is a jump button. I mean, like,
know that.
In previous Zelda games, in like the 2D Zelda games, you had to collect an item to be able to jump.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but that's kind of a big enough deal on its own to be like, to get, your average Zelda fanboy to be like, oh, that's cool. Like, and they're just restructuring the games. So it looks like it opens up. There'll probably be more than what they showed. What they showed on the live stream was you're in a pod and you get out of the pod and then you're in the game and you're just running around.
Right.
And I suspect they probably want to put a little bit of a tutorial and a bit of story there.
Yeah.
But it looks like you're just going to have to intuit a lot and what's going on, which has never really been the case. So it does look like they've taken a little bit of that Bethesda, we're going to build a world and make the world tell the story as much as...
Which is kind of, it's something I think that gamers these days are used to.
I think it fits really well because they've never really wanted to tell a story. They're not verbose.
Yeah.
Like the most you get out of a Zelda character is or You know, like you never get like, oh hi Link. You get some gibbering idiot on the other end of a microphone who was told, yeah, we don't have voice acting in this, so just make a noise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think the idea of environmental storytelling was going to work really well.
Yeah.
And I trust that. I just trust that like Nintendo will put enough time and kind of research into it to get it right and to bring some stuff to the open world kind of.
There was
thing.
some interesting stuff that I saw, like I can't remember. I think it was just like a GIF that I saw on Reddit of someone was playing it and. Like they had a fire and then the wind took the fire, like set fire to the grass around it and exploded something or something like that. Like they basically use
fire spread. Yeah, it's very, very Far Cry too.
Yeah,
like they've got, you can change your weapon as well. So that like in the demo they picked up a stick and that was their weapon for a while, and then they got a weapon from one of the enemies, and they even said, oh yeah, part of the game is going to be your weapons degrade.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to kind of so it seems a little bit like they've taken some survival kind of stuff for there. And you can change clothes. Okay. You can be naked. You can just be naked if that's what you want. I mean, not fully naked, but I'm sure someone will, Zelda. Hack into the Wii U or NX. That's the question. I didn't know if they answered.
So we don't really know if it was being specifically played on.
Wouldn't it be obvious from a graphics performance point of view?
Maybe not. I mean, it didn't look quite as lush as the trailer demo that they showed. The trailer, they said that was all in game.
Yeah.
When they showed it last year at last E3. This is, I don't know if you saw the trailer, but where Link is chased by one of these Guardian robots. But that looked a little bit lusher than the gameplay that we saw. So I suspect that it will be a both generations game. Yeah. I think what we're seeing is Wii U footage.
Yeah. That would make sense
because it looked like with the right level of optimization, that is the kind of thing that could run on an Xbox kind of 360, which is kind of what the Wii U's like.
Wii U's just like a little bit more, isn't it? Because it's a little bit
just
later.
A tiny bit more, and it tends to they tend to make everything 1080 at 60.
Yeah.
And I mean, Christ, The Witcher runs perfectly, and that game is absolutely gorgeous. So Nintendo producing something, I reckon they can get something looking like that on that hardware.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if we're going to see an NX version, 2 separate versions.
All right, I think it would be. I mean, given that they've basically wound down Wii U stuff so much that like all they had to show was Zelda, right? That was basically
I think it would upset a lot of people if they didn't release it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Like, I think they're aware that they need to get it out on the Wii U. This is my suspicion anyway.
Had they had a Zelda game on the Wii U?
Not a proper one.
No, they just had
2 remakes.
The remakes.
Wind Waker and a HD version of Twilight Princess.
So you say there was very little for the Wii U this time round.
Yeah,
the majority was for the NX?
That's all it was.
Yeah,
Nintendo didn't do anything.
That Nintendo showed was Zelda.
Really?
And a bit of Pokemon.
Oh yeah, and Pokemon.
For Joe.
Was Pokemon Go, or was it another?
No, it was Sun and Moon. Okay. Yeah, so they pretty much showed the most that they've shown of that.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny actually. A lot of people getting frustrated because they showed Pokemon for about 40-50 minutes.
Right.
And everyone was like, "Where's Zelda?" and then the stream went down, and people were like, "Where's Pokemon?" But that looked really good actually. The new Pokemon.
Yeah. Might actually get a 3DS.
First time they're rendering the characters like they look anatomically correct instead of being like bunched up little sprite peoples.
Yeah.
And everything's in 3D, so you can see your Pokemon in 3D with the 3D stuff.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
That's
like
cool.
It's about the first time because I've been on this podcast and in the past said I'm a lapsed player, but
I mean,
I'm
when we had
Mr.
Pokemon, Cerebi.net, Joe Merrick, when we had him on, we were all in the room and you were like, I did play and now I don't, and it's is it going to get you back, do you reckon?
Do you know what? I'd be tempted to, because it looks really clean and good, and I have kind of missed that, but at the same time it's like they usually come out quite expensive and they never drop in price. Never.
Yeah.
I could look for Pokemon from like 9 years ago, and it would still be like 30 quid.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that might be an exaggeration, but they just don't drop in price. I tried to get a copy of Heart Gold about 3 months ago, and it was still out of my price range. I'm not paying more than £10 for that.
No, of course not.
It's an old game.
Come on,
Pokemon.
sort it out.
Sort it out, CEX. Jesus Christ.
Another game. Okay, I'm just going to flit around this thing. A game that when we were watching the video, you said looked really great. Forza Horizon 3.
I used the word epic, which I don't throw around that much, but it just looked like it had scale and some other stuff. It reminds me of so in 2005 Sony had a pretty famous E3 teaser trailer for MotorStorm, and everybody went, oh my god, and then the game came out and it's like it's nice, like that's how it kind of went. This looks like this generation's version of that, which is like, that looks pretty
this is Forza Horizon 3. We've already seen what they can do with 1 and 2,
because it's all like open world with Horizon, isn't it?
They pretty much did, like, what you're seeing, what you saw, that's achievable.
Is it? Okay.
Really cool looking. I mean, I hope this kind of falls into other game types, like different like genres. But this drop-in co-op that looked really good. One person invited another person. I mean, if it works, it'd be great. They invited them to the game. They pressed a button, and then it didn't stop and load them into the game. They were just in that other person's game, driving where they were before. Which is a wonderful little,
That's great.
Yeah,
that's
really
how
great. That's how it should be in the modern cloud. And
so does that, the other person needs to own the game and have installed it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Something that hasn't really...
The other person, in the demo, they were all playing their own little thing, and then they all came together. And
Gotcha.
Something that hasn't really become a thing, like I think Sony thought it might when they originally released the PS4. Do you remember when it was like, okay, you can sort of invite someone that doesn't have the game to play,
that's more like it.
Or you can, watch someone play like the stream and then take over. And
I think that was,
and it's not really become like a
reliant on developers wanting to do it. And who's really going to want to give people a free access to their game? They don't like making demos.
I mean, I know that Far Cry 4 offered, I think, like a few hours. If you can just sort of play with a friend,
kind of mess about in their world. Which is cool. I'd love to see it where maybe the demo of a game was just a bit of co-op functionality. That would be great. But like I say, it's on developers.
I just remembered like that stuff that was kind of quite headline features of the PS4 that never really came to fruition. And you're right, developers just don't want to.
That wasn't impossible to do on the PS3.
No,
stuff like that's not impossible to do anyway.
Pricing, sooner or later the pricing model for games is going to flip again, I think. A bit like it did with music. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe it's already out there, but I'd be quite up for paying £30 a month and having like a number of hours that I can play any game I want. Like the console just has a timer. It's got my login.
Has stuff like that. I mean, not to that form. No, but you're getting a lot more monthly subscription models.
It's kind of the Spotify of gaming.
I've mentioned it before on the podcast, and I think I was talking to you about it before. I have a subscription to PlayStation Now. So that gives me access to a whole bunch. I think like 200 or odd PS3 games, where it just puts it onto your home screen on your PS4 and you can access it at any time, but it's basically streaming the game. And I've had no real problems with latency or anything like that. But then again, a lot of the games that I was playing are things like Ico and things like that, which aren't really reliant on twitchy stuff. But even actually saying that, I was playing with a friend Street Fighter 4. And we were playing multiplayer. Obviously we weren't playing multiplayer online, we were just playing it locally, but it's our friend Josh who plays a lot of Street Fighter, and he was saying that actually he's really impressed that there wasn't really any lag whatsoever.
Well, I mean, if there was ever a test, I think Street Fighter would be a really valid test, so that's pretty impressive. What
I would love to see is them Sony expanding it, but the thing is they won't do it because I don't think they've got enough subscribers, blah blah blah. I'm paying $12.99 a month to have access to that, which I think is fairly reasonable. If they would expand it to PS4 games, and older PS2, PS1, they could put, if they have the tech to do it, I would happily pay like 30 quid a month for that.
So, I think that's something on the back burner for them. Yeah. Like they'll gradually get people coming in and out, and maybe that will be offered, like, maybe it will improve slowly. We do have other stuff. I think that the thing that's going to stop a big, like, subscription service being everyone wants to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
You got EA doing it for themselves. I think Ubisoft have an access model now. PlayStation have got it, and Gold gives away 2 free games every month.
Exactly, yeah.
I want to see a chart where somebody takes a pretty good educated guess at the rate of development of like mobile devices, of which the Apple TV uses mobile processors and stuff like that, versus these like home consoles. And yes, at this point it seems quite unlikely and impossible that these things cross over, but like there will this sounds like something somebody would have said 10 years ago, but it will eventually get to a point where graphics are much of a muchness. Like it's going to get to a point where you're just like
diminishing returns already happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you're just kind of like, oh, I've got 1080p here and I've got 4K there, but I'm 10 feet away. Like you just stream it, whatever you want. And like I was just thinking, like the App Store and like that kind of stuff, like the gaming on the Apple TV would, because it's other people can't put their platform on top of that. That would probably be the console where something like gaming subscription would happen first. Where you've got these AAA blockbusters of which people wouldn't want to spend £40 on, £50 even on the App Store. It's just like, oh Jesus. So you might just subscribe to Game Center.
On Live tried.
I'll tell you where it comes from. It's that I don't play enough. Like I wouldn't drop £50 on a new game every month.
No, well, every
2 months.
I think the killer here is all the indie titles. It's broader now than it ever has been. It will be broader. They're going to keep supporting. There's stuff like Humble Monthly. You get X amount of games a month. You can then play them. They're all indie games.
Do you have to? Do they then stop you playing it more, or you just get them?
I don't know. Do you know what?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. It's like the hours you. I'm gonna play for a certain amount. I'm gonna be allowed to play for a certain amount of hours, and I'm gonna pay a certain amount. And like depending on a bit like Spotify, so depending on what I choose to play, well the share of the money goes to that developer, or whatever. So like it kind of works itself out. But
it's just a model that I think needs to be.
Publishers are going to go for something like that.
No, because they all want to have their own thing, and it's going to be very difficult for them all to come together.
And they all want £60 each big release, if not more. Yeah. £60
because that's what they used to.
Now you're seeing like £30-40 for a season pass.
Yeah.
I mean, Fallout has a £40 season pass for 4-5 pieces of DLC. Speaking of which,
so
DLC that was announced, and alongside a Skyrim remaster.
Which I might actually get because I never played Skyrim. So
generations.
Never seen or played Skyrim. Carry on, guys.
I may have seen.
I'll just sit back.
I may have been seen bitching on Twitter about if Bethesda were a nicer studio, they just released the updated version for the PC owners. And they did. So if you own Skyrim, you will get the remastered version.
That's kind of a cool move, isn't it?
That is cool. It comes with mods as well, so they're doing what they did with Fallout. So that's probably why the Fallout mod thing has taken some time, because they've been working it in for both of their
console mods we're talking about as well. So
interesting.
So you can now look at download mods on your Fallout on Xbox One, which is cool.
Same
really
mods?
is cool. Most of the same. They have to be.
Are they doing it with PlayStation as well, or not?
You can't just download mods off of Nexus Mods. You have to go through Bethesda's own thing.
They sort of have its own store kind of thing, wouldn't it?
But they're it's a bit of a grey area at the moment. We've already had people stealing other people's mods off of Nexus Mods and uploading it to the Bethesda studios. So I think they're going to have to work a little bit more on the control stuff.
Policing it.
In something like that, I don't mind a control. Apple gets a lot of flack for the app store being so controlled.
That's funny,
and I think that's rightly so. But with something where other people's IPs and intellectual
people are
involved,
putting their own time and work into it. And
I hear what you're saying, and normally I do side with that. I do hate that person that's a bit lazy about getting on with porting this to that or whatever. And if these people who are, this isn't, I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is, if the people who are releasing other people's mods on the Xbox,
it's not out of like frustration that it's not been uploaded.
Oh, okay, it's just because if it is, I kind of let that go.
Yeah, like, this is the case where the mod was on the store twice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the DLC for anyone listening who hasn't heard, Nuka World, which is kind of I was reading about it today. You're now able to play as like a Raiders faction, it seems.
Okay.
And take over the
cool.
world as Raiders, which is very cool. It's something that we wanted, and they added a couple of workshop DLCs.
Yeah.
Which,
is that just getting added on to the season pass?
That's all in the season pass, but then that's all that we're getting from that point on. So I think
there's been, just to go through the DLC, so there's Far Harbor, which was released recently,
nice big one,
which was like a massive new landmass, and
which
stuff
they're
like
asking £20 for individually, just as a point of interest. They're asking £20 for that. They got the machinist, the automatron one, which is $8.99,
where you can make a robot,
which is really fun actually, and it's got a bit of story.
Follow you around Fallout 4, and
then they got the workshop mods, which are all $3.99 each.
Yeah.
Which was what was the first one? Wasteland Workshop, which just added the ability to capture beasts and build stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
And then what they've added now is a contraptions one, which adds conveyor belts, and you can now build your own like physics-based marble kind of runs, which is kind of like that struck me as really weird, but I guess it's a reaction to all the there were a lot of what's the name of the device, like the old Honda ad. That's showing my age. I think of it as the Honda ad. The Rube Goldberg
device. Yeah,
people used to do that on Fallout 3, putting like stuff down and then watching the physics play out. So I think that might be a direct reaction to the amount of YouTube videos of that. And the other one was a Vault workshop, so you can become an overseer and build your own vault.
So you can that's cool,
kind of like.
So I think Bethesda have done all right with the
that was a nice little announcement. I mean, I'd like to see another large expansion, especially considering they're now asking £40 for their season pass. But
which went up, didn't it?
I guess I'm just always gonna, I kind of feel like they made a lot of money with Fallout 4 and CD Projekt Red. They made The Witcher. They kind of set the tone for how I feel DLC should be. A bunch of free DLC, which kind of just updates every week. They did something new and something little, maybe a little quest or a sword or something. And then 2 big expansions, which were covered, they're just like £15 each. But like were pretty much the full game again. And they took their time on it. They've only just released their last expansion, The Witcher came out last year. Whereas Fallout came out, Witcher came out early last year, and Fallout came out late last year, and we're already going to see the second expansion.
So Kyle's just gone to CD
Projekt Red. So this is Kyle Rowley, who was working at
Remedy.
Remedy on Quantum Break that we interviewed. So he's gone to CD Projekt Red.
And so they're in Poland, right? But it's a global market. Now, like you literally like people's time costs half the money in terms of like global, like in Poland. So like we're talking about the cost of DLC and all this other stuff. Like somebody's got to do this calculation sometime, which is like the cost of developing a game in the UK and doing DLC for it versus like having a development house in Poland and still producing super high quality content. So it's not about the content, but in terms of a global market where games sell for a certain amount in certain countries, like this development house in Poland technically has like half the overhead, right? Or something like that,
to a certain degree.
In terms of just people.
From what I understand, they are paying their staff like comparable prices.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I mean, internationally, you're like. You could go to Singapore, like Treyarch I can't remember where they've got a studio.
I know that Ubisoft
Singapore.
have Chinese studios
got
now.
Hundreds, and they're all working on different projects. But you can expect to be paid
because
amounts.
I don't know. It's just a connection I made on the because I work with Polish developers at work, and I know rates wise, it's favourable and all that, and it's just interesting because it is a global market. I never really thought about that part, which is it doesn't matter where your game is made. If it's a AAA blockbuster, it sells for 50 something over here, no matter where it's made. But actually, what you make on that game depends a lot on where you go and make it and what it costs you.
Well, there's a lot of places I know that Canada, I think, have a lot of tax breaks for game studios.
The UK does actually.
So
we only kind of in the last 5 years, because we for ages the UK like game devs were asking people to do this, asking Parliament and kind of petitioning to have tax cuts to make it more so that they can make more profit. Poland does that for CD Projekt Red. Like I know that they have some nice.
They offer incentives for companies to be there and be contributing to that economy, basically.
Same with Bohemia Interactive in where are they?
I don't know.
Not Cyprus. Like in part of
somewhere
that area,
Croatia or something like that.
Croatia.
Okay,
hit it in one. There we go. But it's really interesting because they do offer pretty good prices, but cost of living I imagine is pretty low. So it is kind of a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, compared to, for example, any development studios in London, for example, or whatever.
Exactly.
Right. Is there anything in particular, James, that has really stood out to you that you'd really like to talk about?
I mean, a couple of things look really interesting. This E3 seems to have been more focused on the big companies announcing their tech stuff. Couple of big reveals like God of War and kind of like
God of War looks
Kojima
kind of cool.
came out with his double kind of
totally forgot about
wanker
that,
fingers.
So we should probably
we saw some naked buttocks at E3. That's always a pleasure.
Everybody's been wondering since Kojima left Konami and says I've got a deal with Sony to make a new game, brand new IP, or everything all new. We've got a new team. Well, is it Kojima Productions, the team from them? Or is it? I guess they've.
Do you know what? I have no idea.
I think that they've probably got some people from the Konami team and some new people and stuff, and they're like, you know what, we're making a new game with Sony, bam. But nobody knew what the fuck was going on until Hideo Kojima turns up on a path of light down onto the stage. He's like, I'm back! And
shows
the
us
crowd goes wild.
This trailer, and still no one has any idea what's going on.
So the trailer...
that's the end point.
The trailer, he says it's all real time, did he say?
He said real time.
Yeah. But he also said that they haven't specifically found an engine yet.
Yeah, so, I don't really understand anything. But Kojima does this.
Yeah, so the trailer essentially shows a very naked Norman Reedus.
Oh yes.
From Walking Dead fame.
We almost see the Norman Reedus penis.
Is there a rewind button on this?
Delete that last 5 seconds. So we show him and he wakes up on a beach.
Yeah, he cries.
He
There's
finds
a baby.
He sees a baby. He's got handcuffs on. He sees a baby, which is like got an umbilical cord going off, and like he tries hugging it into him, and then he
cries a bit.
He like hugs the baby disappears. He's got his hands are covered in oil, and then he stands up.
What's this got to do with gaming?
He's got a C-section.
And then he's had a C-section. He's got the scar on his stomach, and then he looks up into the sky, and there's these 5
floating figures.
Floating figures.
Superman
in the sky, and there's like whales dead on the beach, which I guess is where the stranding, because the cetacean stranding is where whales and others they end up just stranding themselves on the beach. It's just something that happens en masse apparently. So the game is called Death Stranding, so I guess there's something there.
Wow.
It made no sense.
Death Stranding.
Couldn't he have just got Snake to like wear the eye patch on the other eye, like to get around all the copyrights.
I watched Escape from New York.
Yeah, they could have just done Escape from New York.
It's not like Snake is that unique of a character. He's called fucking Snake Plissken.
I reckon they should have made an Escape from New York.
Oh my god, how fucking amazing would that have been? They just immediately snatched that IP.
Would have nobody could say anything about it because it predates all the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that would Snake be epic. Was there's a bit of Snake Plissken in Snake. Like it's a known fact.
I would actually love that. That would make me cry.
It would be incredible.
Oh, what a fucking fuck you moment.
But the thing is, like, I mean, with the teaser for Metal Gear Solid 5, like they showed something that it was sort of like the beginning of
Sahelanthropus. Or did they show the big robot? I think they did at the end of the trailer.
Well, they showed all the whale in the sky and all this kind of thing, and you didn't know that it was
a bit cryptic.
It was really, really, they called it the Phantom Pain. They didn't say, but then they sort of hid Metal Gear Solid 5 in the name and all this kind of thing. And I think Kojima's very into doing fake outs.
Yeah,
he loves it. It's sort of what he does, and I'm really interested to see how that goes. I want to see how their logo of the head, the skull in a I want to see if that actually works out into being
that was their mascot now, but like it's very odd. Yeah, very odd. I it's very. I mean, what?
We'll see what the fuck is going on in about 2 years. Yeah, I think
I'll keep appraised of the Metal Gear Solid subreddit because you get all the theories there. I'm already enjoying the amount of memes related to the C-section Norman Reedus. Oh my god, like things like I carried you for a year and now you left me type bollocks. Like perfect.
I find it interesting, the last note on this game, I find it interesting that they've continued to use Norman Reedus because Konami obviously had him being in the new Silent Hill game before that got cancelled. And so I guess Kojima sort of called him up and was like, "You're still around."
Yeah. Did you see what Norman Reedus tweeted?
Was it the Konami tears?
Picture of him drinking a mug with Konami tears written on it.
So obviously it's a bit of a in-joke in Kojima Productions. Everyone's having a bit of a giggle.
Wait, the mug said Konami tears.
Yeah, like you didn't see this? A bunch of feminists, I think it was this year or last year. Like it blew up that they had like male tears. Like they were taking the piss, saying essentially like we get off on like sexist bullshit when you're whining and crying about stuff that we've said. So that's just become its own meme now. And then, like the idea of drinking someone's tears.
Yeah. So but I find it interesting that they've managed to secure him for this game, and I wonder what Konami are thinking now.
I think they're probably lining up the lawyers.
Yeah, I think so.
And just throwing whatever they can.
One game I really want to just quickly mention, it didn't really get shown very much in the E3 thing, but I'm so pumped. Did you ever play Mass Effect?
I watched it being played.
Yeah, I'm so excited about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Effect is like giving me a Mass Effect in my pants.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but just that music and that just
that weird boom 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 boom.
There's just
like
something,
the kind of M83.
Yeah, there's just seeing the N7 logo on the guy. Yeah. I'm just like, oh man, like that's just some of the greatest experiences from the last generation for me were in that world. And like I'm really excited about seeing any new aliens and driving around and it's just
sense of exploration. And they've explicitly said that they're trying to go for a vibe from the first game.
Yeah,
which is interesting because like Mass Effect as a series,
the one I watched, the first game.
It went from Star Trek to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean Mass Effect 2, I love the games. There's so many really good, well written moments in 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
2 is especially my favorite, really, and I love Star Wars. Sorry, getting confused there, but that sense of exploration, the kind of the more slow natured, kind of, and I really love the mystery, the kind of the Lovecraftian kind of horror of the main plot in Mass Effect 1. So something fresh is definitely welcome.
It's going to be nice because it's like a whole the idea is that it's a new frontier. They've gone to Andromeda to find a new world, a new planet, a new a place for humanity and the other species to live. And it's
my theory is the main character is going to be from the West Country.
Do you think?
Putting that one down now. Yeah. Going to Andromeda.
I don't know what that was supposed to be.
I got it.
But yeah, I'm just super pumped about it, and I didn't see enough of it.
Yeah, it looked really good. Tom texted me. Tom talked to me on Facebook and questioned whether it was actually possible to render that. I'm undecided as to whether that could really be reflective.
I think we might be past the point of bull shots at this point, to a point anyway.
To a degree,
I think that things are looking good enough to be okay, this is.
You get a lot of rendered in the game engine stuff now,
and I think you'll see really good stuff.
That's just notes from me.
And then closer to the release, obviously that they've sort of had to bring it down for optimization and stuff like that. But generally speaking, the first footage, if they say it's gameplay footage,
in the game.
It's still.
That will happen with the Division. People shat their eyes out about the Division. What an odd phrase. just because they showed it off and then they kind of optimized it. And people were really unhappy about being shown something that looks slightly better. When really what they should have been unhappy about is being shown something that looked like it played really fun and then didn't. The problem with the Division with Watch Dogs. And the Division is that they both were made to look really good in the demo, but then kind of you play them and it's kind of it's a bit samey Ubisoft stuff. I actually quite like the Division, but it did need something else other than just shooting enemies.
Well, I think we've got to a point where we should probably start wrapping up.
Yeah, we didn't even really touch on God of War.
No, God of War,
Watch Dogs 2. What else did they show? The Last Guardian, which I'm super pumped for, but it's gotten to the point where what can you really say about it? Other than I hope it comes out.
I think a lot. Obviously, with E3, this is what I was saying sort of before we started sort of rolling. Is there's so much that happens.
So I've got a topic I want to discuss on. Two actually. We'll do the gaming one first, and then we'll go back a little bit to hardware. I like Gears of War. I like it. I like anything co-op. I don't actually like the theme of Gears of War, like ugly aliens,
ugly men.
Ugly men. Well, okay. But it's so exaggerated. But co-op gets me every time. Co-op is the best thing ever. And Horde, when Gears 2 came out with Horde mode, I mean, it was fun enough playing Gears 1 co-op, online with some strangers, apparently, if I remember right. And but Horde mode, when I had 2 Xboxes and 2 TVs in my lounge and had friends come over, and especially when we had a bit of a crew going that knew what their job was, and just those, we did Horde 20 different times or whatever, and it's a great game mode. I think it just taps into something that I don't get out of a lot of other gaming experiences.
And it seems to be something that's sort of
floated around. It's part of gaming vernacular now. It's not just the fancy that happened at the time. Nowadays, games maybe come with a Horde mode. That's just an option.
Halo did it, and then
they didn't do it,
and then they didn't do it anymore. And I'm trying to think of other games that have sort of introduced
it. It's part of Call of Duty now.
It is. The zombies.
Zombies. And obviously I love zombies as well. Horde I prefer because it's more forgiving, which works for me in games sometimes, because you just don't want to be that guy who lets down. You're 25 minutes into zombies, and then you get
I got called a bell end by a 15-year-old that I was playing zombies with the
that
other
is
day.
A fairly good summation of your character.
Get out of my house.
I have to. I've got to get a train.
But I didn't actually get any details other than, hey, here's this new Gears of War and it's got Horde 3.0 or whatever. Cool, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it does mean buying an Xbox, doesn't it?
Which I'm not
or
do.
a PC
or
because
PC.
of crossplay.
Yeah,
which
or play
takes
anywhere.
me on to the next bit.
Exactly.
Okay.
Nice segue.
No, you guys talk for a bit. I was just going to mention that the moving the Xbox controller to Bluetooth is a smart move.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like compatibility. I use a PS3 controller on my Mac Mini to run homebrew ROMs.
Okay.
On a really nice emulator. Definitely not, downloading retro games on it. But it's really nice how it pairs up and just wireless, and it just plays nicely.
I mean,
Bluetooth is so
what
obvious.
was it before? Is it some Wi-Fi standard or something?
Proprietary RF something?
Right. Yeah. With the
nightmare as well.
with the thingy that what was it? Play Anywhere. That's what it was called. That's a fucking awesome idea.
Cool.
And it's something that sort of had to happen.
I'm all for that.
There's a lot of nice little additions to the Xbox kind of stuff. They did some changes to the Xbox where the friends system and adding clans and looking for group.
Looking for group.
Looking for my girlfriend. I'm looking for someone new to play games with.
Looking for group sounds like I mean, if they've done it right, it's just words to me at the moment.
Yeah.
And, I've got a spotty history with Microsoft. But, if they actually do it right, cool idea. Jump on anytime, broadcast, here's what... It's kind of like the Call of Duty lobby thing, isn't it?
I know for a fact that if looking for group is good, the Xbox achievements.com forum is going to die. The amount of people that will be like, I don't need this anymore. I can just say, looking for someone to do an Xbox achievement.
Exactly.
Wait, but that comes from the perspective that somebody's trying to get something done achievements-wise, right? Or do people just play?
That's what the Xbox achievements forums is. It's just full of people pulling guides out of their arse in the first day of something's being released.
Yeah.
That always amazes me. Fucking Fallout 4 comes out, full guide in 30 hours.
Everything.
And people getting together so that they can either boost or just do
right. Because my angle as somebody who's not that hardcore, I don't give a shit about. Are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
About achievements, looking for group in terms of hey, I'm an individual. My friends are pretty busy nowadays, and here's horde mode, right? And I want to play, and I'm decent at it. So, instead of waiting for that random rainy Sunday when I can get my friends together, I can just jump on and
find that
put
guy
4 hours in and just be like, who here is up for 4 hours of sorting out, or whatever it took. It felt like 4 hours. By the time you cook the pizza and then, took the toilet breaks and all that. Horde mode? You're looking at me blank, Tom. Yeah, you know how horde mode goes.
Yeah.
I hope they execute that nicely. I am not going to go buy an Xbox though.
No.
I will buy a PS4 and get the VR, but I don't know if there's a Windows way to do it, and I can put Windows on something.
I'm tempted to get Windows in some way just so I can play Halo Wars anyway. So
so you wouldn't want to play it on the controller if you got an Xbox?
Well,
wait, hold on. Wait, that's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Bluetooth controller.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So surely, if I got,
no, I mean you'd have to get an Xbox. You say get Windows 10. I thought maybe you were thinking because you'd want to play it with a mouse and keyboard.
Oh no.
Oh, just because. Oh yeah, probably actually you're right. Windows 10 would probably be cheaper.
Yeah.
Than.
Well, let's face it. You've got what's that?
If you've got
£250 console.
If you've got any copy of fucking Windows, they just give you Windows 10.
Yeah, right.
Oh, really? Yeah. They just update you without even asking. Oh, you're Windows 10 now. What?
I like the idea of spending £250 more on my next Mac or whatever, and giving it some horsepower, and then putting Windows 10 and being able to boot to it and play. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit hypocritical there based on my past about having simplicity with consoles, but it's a nice move. I'm all for this.
It's a very nice move. Right, we are gonna go.
Cool.
Thank you for listening. James, how can people get in contact, see your shit?
Well, if you're listening, thank you for listening. You can find my website, which is a gaming site, and YouTube channel at www.100xp.co.uk.
Yep.
That's
Marcos, any way you want people to stalk you?
I'm on Twitter I rant at companies. I don't say, and I retweet. It's at MDJCM.
Cool. Obviously, you can contact us at Interactivists, info@interactivists.co.uk, or Facebook. I knew I'd screw this one up. Facebook.com/TheInteractivists. And we will hopefully be back soon with another podcast. So until next time, see you later.
Bye.